This is the modernization of the Second Amendment via Balancing Rights and Public Safety by Emily Hines Humphreys. I'm sure as we all know, the Second Amendment reads, "A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." A little introduction. The Second Amendment was originally written in the 1700s, late 1700s, when the United States did not have a standing army and relied on militias. Its aim was to enable people to protect themselves, but in current United States, the reality is much different. Mass shootings, gun-related crimes, and extensive gun usage are just a few of many problems that we see. While maintaining the individual right to bear arms, this presentation is going to go into a modern update to the Second Amendment to assist with these problems. The idea is going to be presented to the relevant party having authority over these gun laws and constitutional revisions. The relevant committee I'm going to present this to is the House Judiciary Committee, specifically the subcommittee on the Constitution and Limited Government. I believe that this committee is the most suited to assess modifications to the Second Amendment since it deals with the issues of constitutional rights and amendments. I did include a list of all the people who would be hearing this proposition, all the people who are in this committee. The proposition will be called the Second Amendment Modernization Act, and it reads as follows. The right of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. However, this right shall be subject to reasonable regulations to ensure public safety, including mandatory background checks, licensing requirements, and restrictions on the possession of military-grade firearms. Regulatory framework and public safety measures will be included in this. We will have a federal licensing and background check system that will be developed and kept under maintenance. We will have measures in place that forbid civilians access to military-grade weapons and specifies what those weapons are. Federal money will be set aside for public education and enforcement initiatives to help support the new rule compliance and understanding. Justification and public support with this matter is just based on the original amendment referenced a well-regulated militia. That context has changed. Today, we have to balance the rights of individuals versus public safety, and we have seen this previously affirmed in the courts. If you look at District of Columbia v. Heller in 2008, it did clarify that reasonable regulations can exist under the Second Amendment. This foundation is matched by the growing public demand for reform. Mass shootings have increased in frequency and severity. The majority of Americans do support background checks and restrictions on high-capacity firearms. Law enforcement agencies have also advocated for practical tools to help officers and civilians alike. How we would implement this would be through the subcommittee and of the Limited Government and the House Judiciary Committee. The proposition will be presented to public safety rather than a partisan issue. Broad support will be fostered through strategic collaboration with bipartisan legislators, mental health professionals, and law enforcement leaders. Specific definitions for these firearms will be established, and nationwide background check system will be implemented. The enforcement of these regulations will be facilitated by federal spending and public education. Anticipated challenges and solutions. Although this plan is seen as reasonable, some organizations worried about government excess will object strongly. False information about gun seizure and shrinking of liberties might travel fast. Public education initiatives and open messaging will help offset this, emphasizing the constitutionality of the measure, its foundation on legal precedent, and its possibility to lower gun violence will help handle these issues properly. The potential impact on American life could be huge. It could help establish a safer society by lowering gun-related mortality and stopping weapons from finding their ways into the incorrect hands. Law-abiding people would still be able to get weapons, but under systems guaranteeing responsibility and accountability. Critics counter that further control can cause government overreach or delays in legal gun transactions, therefore fostering government excess. Still, the general goal is to lower bloodshed and encourage responsible American gun ownership. Modernizing the Second Amendment is about enhancing rather than depriving rights. In a country where gun violence is a daily issue, it's not only logical but also required to implement protections honoring the Constitution and saving lives. This measure empowers responsible citizens by background checks and restrictions on military-grade weapons, therefore limiting access for those who endanger public safety. We have a moral obligation to act. This shift can rebuild confidence, save lives, and guarantee the right to bear guns is used in line with both liberty and responsibility.